Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. FPL Consult here, and today we're gonna craft the best Game Week 32 Wildcard Team. Right, so for today first, we're gonna take a look at the double Game Week 33 fixtures, because those are the fixtures that would come right after we wildcard here in Game Week 32. So those are the fixtures we need to care about, because the doubles there are the players that we need to make sure we have in our teams, right? And then we're gonna take a look at the best players to target from all these teams that have good doubles, and then we're gonna take a look at two wildcard drafts. So the first draft will be for those of us who are using our bench boost in Game Week 33 to take advantage of those double Game Week fixtures. And the second draft would be for those of us not using our bench boost in Game Week 33. Maybe you want to use it in Game Week 36 instead, right? So hopefully this video is helpful for you guys. If you do enjoy it, help me out and give it a like. Subscribe if you are new around here so we can hit our season target of 1,000 subscribers. But for now, let's get on with the video. Right, so on the screen right now is a graphic of the best to worst teams with a double game week in Game Week 33. Now, some of you may think that it's a little bit weird that we are focusing so much on Game Week 33, but because a Game Week 32 wildcard is just before the double Game Week 33, it makes so much sense for us to kind of capitalize as much as we can of this wildcard now, so that we can prepare our team really well for the double Game Week 33, right? Whether or not we are bench boosting, we will have to try as much as possible to take advantage of the double Game Week 33 fixtures. So on the screen right now, I have the draft town odds of all the fixtures that these teams have, right? So going from the top, that is the best team. So Leicester currently has the best double game week according to the draft town odds, right? They are expected to win Newcastle and Everton as well. And then if we go down the list, there's Newcastle, Manchester United, Arsenal, Southampton, Burnley, and Brighton, right? These are all the teams that double, right? So Leicester has the best one. And then we take a look at Newcastle, and Newcastle also has a pretty good double, right? They have Leicester at home and then Crystal Palace at home. And they are also, predicted to have a pretty high chance of winning and possibly keeping a clean sheet in the Crystal Palace game as well, right? But if we take a look at Manchester United and Arsenal, I think this doesn't surprise us, because we both of them have very easy fixtures earlier in the Game Week 33 run, where they play Norwich and Southampton respectively. So green boxes all around there, because they are predicted to kind of sweep the opposition away there. But if we take a look at their second game, they have Liverpool and Chelsea respectively, right? So it's not a surprise that we see the red boxes there, because they are predicted to either lose those games by quite a margin, and they are not predicted to win those games, in fact, right? So if we take a look at the double Game Week 33 on a whole, they don't really rank as high as Leicester and Newcastle, but what that still means is that because they have a really good first game for double Game Week 33, we should have at least one or two of these players from Manchester United and Arsenal, right? Then if we take a look at Southampton, not too great. They have Arsenal in the first game, and then they have Burnley in the second game. Maybe the game against Burnley could bring them some goals. Some players from Southampton can get some returns, but I think they would struggle in the first game against Arsenal, right? So not too great in terms of Southampton assets there. And if we take a look at Burnley, they are predicted to do quite poorly against West Ham, right? Of course, these are predictions, but they are, predicted to not do as well against West Ham, and maybe against Southampton they do have a little bit more of a chance, right? So overall, not that great of a double game week for Burnley as well, right? But for those of us who are holding on to Weghorst, maybe you're watching this and you're not on a wildcard 32, but you're holding on to Weghorst, you probably would keep him for 33 as well for the double, right? And then if we take a look at the worst double game week 33 team, we have Brighton, and this is not a surprise at all, because they have Tottenham and Man City both away, right? So no surprises there, red boxes throughout the whole row for Brighton, because they are predicted to do quite poorly against these teams, right? So with all these in mind, we're gonna now take a look at the best players to target from these teams. Now let's take a look at the players to target, right? And I've put them here in the list, so let's go one by one down the list, right? And for Leicester, I think the standout options are pretty obvious. So Maddison and Barnes are the standout attackers. followed by Schmeichel if we want some entry into Leicester defense, because he is the keeper, right? So he is pretty much nailed. And defensive assets wise, we don't really know who is nailed because there are a couple of defenders coming back from injury. So Schmeichel is a pretty safe entry into the Leicester defense, right? And for the optional pick, I've gone for Vardy because he is expected to be back in game week 33, and if we can fit him in our team and he does start, his ceiling is pretty high, right? So he is kind of a punt, so we do have to take a look whether the news comes out and says that he is back fit in time for game week 33. If not, we can choose to leave him out as well. Right, then if we take a look at Newcastle, the standout options are the ones that have kind of the names that have been popping up recently, right? Fraser, Willock, and Shah. So not too much to explain about there. These are probably the more standout options in Newcastle. And for the optional pick, I've gone for Dubravka because he is kind of nursing an injury from international break. So let's take a look and see how he is eased back into the team after the international break. And as for United, the standout options are also pretty obvious. So Sancho, Bruno Fernandes, and Ronaldo. But if we take a look at all these options, they are pretty pricey, right? So the optional picks are slightly cheaper if you want some entry into the Manchester United attack or defense, right? So I've gone for Anthony Elanga, really cheap at 4.8 mil, and Luke Shaw, who is probably cheaper as well than all the other standout attackers in United. But if you take a look at the United fixtures, right, Norwich at home versus in the first game and then Liverpool in the second game, we are going to favor Manchester United quite highly in the first game. So it may be kind of a risk if we don't hop on either of these premiums. But what that does to us is it kind of locks up a lot of value in these players. So we do have to consider whether we want to go for them or not. Right, then if we take a look at Arsenal, Saka, Martinelli, standout attackers for Arsenal right now. And I would say that these two provide really good value for the amount of money we are paying for them, right? And Tierney is also a really good defensive option as well, good attacking threat. And then if you take a look at the optional attackers for Arsenal, there is Odegaard, right? He is also pretty much a nailed attacker and really the one that kind of runs the show. So he is a good option to have as well. And then Ben White if we want a cheaper entry into the Arsenal defense, right? And for Southampton, there are a couple of standout options as well. So Che Adams, Broya, and Ward-Prowse are the standout attackers. I think they are pretty much the ones that we kind of look out for if we're going for Southampton attackers. And then if you take a look at the optional picks, those are the defensive assets, right? Because Southampton does not have a really their double game week 33 fixtures are not really great. So if we want some entry into Southampton defense, then I would kind of go for Livramento and Walker-Peters, who also provide some kind of attacking threat, right? And then for Burnley, I think the standout options are pretty much the ones that have been popping up quite recently as well. So Weghorst and Pope because of the amount of save points that he can get, and also the possibilities of clean sheets that he can keep for all the number of games that Burnley has coming up, right? Because they are also expected to have a double in either 34 or 35, where they would play against Aston Villa as their second fixture for those game weeks, right? So do keep a lookout for that. And then Weghorst is the standout attacker, though underperforming at this point in time, but really there aren't great forward options out there right now. Right, and then for the optional picks, of course, Cornet makes the optional pick, and also Connor Roberts if we kind of want a cheap entry into Burnley's defense. Right, and as for Brighton, I think it's pretty obvious there are no major standout options, and the optional ones I would say is Mopé and also Veltman. But really, I don't think that we should be targeting any of these players because we have seen just now in the graphic earlier how poorly they are predicted to do against Tottenham and Man City, right? So I would stay away from Brighton assets. So all in all, I would say these are the players that we should target for game week 33, right? So we would have to consider putting them into our game week 32 draft, but it is pretty much impossible to fit all of them, so choices have to be made. And let's now take a look at how I'm going to line up in the first draft, where this draft is for those of us who intend to bench boost in game week 33. So this is the draft I've come up with for those of us bench boosting in Game Week 33. So I will show you guys later on how this team lines up in Game Week 33. But if we take a look now in Game Week 32, this is how the draft is lining up. So Pope and Schmeichel in goal. In the defense, I've gone for Trent, Cancelo, Tierney, James, and Connor Roberts. I think Trent, Cancelo, and Reece James moving forward, even though they don't have really great fixtures, right? Trent and Cancelo play each other, but even though that is the case, moving forward, we do need to have them in our team, right? So we still have to include them in our draft. But the others that I've kind of gone for that we can choose, right? The other two slots, Tierney and Roberts, I've gone for because they both doubled in game week 33. Right, and then Saka, Maddison, Salah, Ilanga, and Fraser forms our midfield, right? And if we're lining up in game week 32, not too bad as well, right? Saka has Brighton, Maddison has Crystal Palace, Salah, of course, he plays Man City, but we do have to play Salah no matter what, right? And then up front, there's Weghorst, Kane, and then on the bench as a forward option is Broja, but he just will be on the bench this week because he plays Chelsea, and pretty favourable fixtures for the other two, right? Weghorst has Norwich, Kane has Aston Villa, right? So this is how the team would line up for game week 32. But if we take a look now to game week 33, and if we take a look now, there are so many doublers, right? Almost everyone in this team doubles except for Trent, Cancelo, Reece James, Salah, and Kane, all of whom are pretty much players I feel at this point in time we need to have in our draft, right? So kind of a no-brainer in terms of those picks, but for everyone else, they all double, right? So Burnley-wise, we have 3 Burnley players, Pope, Roberts, and also Weghorst. And then for Arsenal coverage, we have Tierney and Saka. For Manchester United, there's Ilanga, who's on the bench right now, but if you bench boost, he's just going to come into our team, right? And then for Leicester, there's Maddison and Schmeichel, who's on the bench. For Newcastle, we have some coverage with Fraser, who is on the bench, and then Broja for Southampton coverage, right? So really, this team, I would say, is pretty well set up for a game week 33 bench boost, right? So for those of us who kind of want to save some money in some areas, we can kind of do Maddison down to Barnes, or maybe we can even consider bringing Tierney out and taking White into our team, right? But what this means is currently this team would be so ready for a double game week 33 bench boost. I really like the look of this team actually, right? So this is a draft for those of us who intend not to use our bench boost in 33. Maybe you want to use it in game week 36 instead, but regardless of whether we still have it or not, or maybe you want to use it in 36, we still have to prepare this wildcard team for 33 and 36, right? Because we do have to consider that there are a lot of fixtures to be rearranged. So this team is largely focused on the long run, right? Some of the players down here you'll see kind of don't make sense in the short term, but in the long term they do have a lot of fixtures to rearrange in 36 and 37, right? So if we take a look in the goal, I've gone for a different keeper instead of Pope. I've gone for Guaita, and he goes on the bench. In game week 32, Schmeichel will probably start against Crystal Palace, right? So he's in goal for us. For the back three, Trent Alexander-Arnold, Cancelo, and James kind of stay. And then if we take a look, there is Connor Roberts as well. I kind of kept him there because I took Pope out. And then if we take a look at the last defender, Ben White is on the bench because the rest of the players in this game week kind of have really good fixtures, right? Then for midfield, we have Martinelli, Barnes, Salah, and Sancho. And then on the bench, we have Gordon. Now, for the 4 midfielders in our team right now, Martinelli, Barnes, Salah, and Sancho, most of them have a double in game week 33. Later on, we will see, except for Salah, which we do have to have in our team no matter what. So then for Anthony Gordon on the bench, he is someone that will come in really handy come game week 36 and 37 when Everton most probably have a back-to-back double, right? And then if you take a look up front, we have Kane and Weghorst. Good fixtures again in game week 32 as mentioned just now. And then we've gone for Mateta as the other striker because in the long run, Crystal Palace do have a really good run of fixtures, right? And Mateta kind of seems like he's kind of taken the place of Edouard and kind of been the first choice number 9 right now. So we do want some entry there. And if we take a look now, when I go over onto game week 33, we do have quite a number of doubles, right? So Schmeichel doubles, Roberts doubles, Martinelli and Barnes, and then we have Sancho and Weghorst. And if we sub White in as well, then we will have a total of 8 double game week players, right? Which is pretty decent come game week 33. And then if we take a look long term, Arsenal have a couple of games to reschedule, Everton have a couple of games to reschedule, Crystal Palace has a good run, and if we want to take advantage of the Chelsea good run coming up as well, where they have a couple of doubles to be rearranged. A very easy swap would be Sancho to Havertz, right? And maybe later on in the season, we can take Kane out and free up some value for other areas in our team, right? Maybe you want another premium there, but in all, there are a lot of ways we can go about using the transfers moving forward from this draft. But this team is still very well prepared for Game Week 32 and 33, as well as 36 and 37, right? So hopefully those of us who aren't using our bench boost in Game Week 33 but still want a wildcard in Game Week 32 can find this draft a bit useful to kind of pick out some players that would help in the long run and also provide some good value in the short run. So this kind of wraps up this video. Hopefully it was useful for you guys. If you did enjoy it, help me out and give it a like. Subscribe if you are new around here so we can hit a season target of 1,000 subscribers. But for now, thank you for watching and I will see you guys in another video very soon. Bye bye.